Hello, everyone. My name is Dr.Dan Davidson. I'm the CEO of Business Star Makers. Today, I'm going to talk about delegation and the four quadrants of delegation from the point of view of an older CEO for you guys, the young folks who either are young CEOs or plan on being a CEO in your own organization. It is extremely important to feel comfortable and confident in order to delegate. The reason being is that no man is an island, no one man or CEO can achieve their goals and visions and responsibilities all by themselves. We all know that. And at the same time, learning to delegate as well as finding the right person or people to delegate to is a major art, science, and capability and competence that not everybody has, and to acquire it is a major accomplishment. It requires a great deal of um, basically experience and education. Once you accomplish that, you learn that, and you start learning how to tell a good individual, a person that you can trust and you can delegate to, and how much to that person, and where in your organization you can put that person and what to delegate to the person, then your organization starts to grow. So let's go ahead and visit um, my basically quadrant for quadrant presentation and see if I can get some things across to you that may be of value to you. And I hope that. So, the first topic is what is the job of a CEO? Well, I mean, most of these topics that I'm going to speak about, I have spoken about in my videos on YouTube and elsewhere, and probably repetition for you. And not only I, but you probably have heard them many, many, many. But the job of a CEO basically is to continuously inspire the team members and the staff of the organization with the vision and allow this team member, inspire the team members to follow that vision and direction that he has in order for them to be inspired and follow that direction to reach the goal and the outcome that this CEO has set for the organization. The inspiration, the fire that this CEO creates and basically feels himself and has set forth in the organization creates a culture, and creating that culture is a huge part of the job of a CEO. Creating the culture of inspiration, creating the culture wanting to achieve that outcome and end result, because it is more important than a job. As long as the outcome is more important than just a job, than just a paycheck, and everyone is inspired by that, then CEO has done his part in enrolling the organization, the team, in enrolling the organization in the vision that he has. The second most important is to identify people who are leadership quality individuals who are also able to be inspired to be leaders and be inspired by the same vision that he is inspired, empowered, and is in love with, basically, and is driven toward. That's extremely important. You have to be, as I've said many, many times, as a leader, you got to think of yourself as a leader machine. You have to think of yourself as a leader factory. You have to think of this um, organization as an army. And as such, you got to have many leaders uh, in every, as I said, it's sort of like a building. And on every floor of that building, there has to be many, many, many leaders. And those leaders have got to be also leadership um, manufacturers, machines that produce leaders, train leaders. They have the desire to be team players. And this way, you have a duplication system and machine that's trying to create duplicate leaders. And as such, this organization continues to grow, producing leaders, leaders, leaders. And that's what an army does, duplicating. A business, a company that's trying to keep secrets, that's trying to keep people down so that nobody comes up and everybody's trying to save their own business or their own agendas and their own abilities and their own jobs, secrets, so nobody else, is able to be a risk, for them. That's not a healthy environment to work in. That's not a company that will grow. That is not a good culture. That's just not a very healthy organization that will actually prosper. So that army mentality of producing leaders that are open-minded, they're team players and win-win players. You win, I win. When I create a leader, that leader is going to create other leaders, and that leader is going to create other leaders. If that leader wins, I win. That kind of an attitude, that is extremely important for an organization. So that's something that for CEO, that culture that you create will make all the difference. So that leader factory and then the army creation, those are huge. So, as I said, of course, the vision and passion that you have is the ingredient one. The leader factory and army creation is the job two. Those are really important. And then creation of the culture of leadership and following every um, mm, leader to that outcome, no matter what. Okay? Um, so, how does a CEO reach his or her goal? So, let's say, for example, um, a CEO, we have got um, like myself, like you guys who are young CEOs or wish to be CEOs. How do you achieve your goal? Well, first, you create an organization. And then, after you created your organization, there's only so long that you can be the only person in this organization. There's so much that you can do all by yourself. At some point, at least you need someone to answer. You have to delegate part of answering the phones to somebody. That's the least you can do, right? So then you gotta have an assistant. And then after that, you need other kind of staff to do other things. So as you can see, the organization's needs are going to grow. And delegation is a huge part of what you need in order to achieve your goal. There's no way that a CEO can grow that and be a one man army. There's just no way that's going to happen. So without a delegation mentality, almost every CEO will just stay small and will never grow. That's- So 74% of the success of a CEO is basically their capability, depends on their capabilities to delegate. And majority of the success is picking the right person and developing that person to be capable of doing and accomplishing the job that they're being relied on and trusted. So that's huge. You got to be able to pick the right person and delegate to them and then hold them accountable and train them to do the right. That's huge. Obviously, delegation is huge. We got to be able to find the right person and delegate to them. There's a lot of risk and there's a lot of reward. So we know there's a risk of a whole lot of things going wrong. There's no question about that. We know the liabilities that lie in delegating to any third party, uh, what you have to do in this party, you have to delegate your job to. So you cannot obviously just delegate everything to someone or pick, haphazardly responsibilities and obviously type, serious. Sometimes you have to have this nose in, hands off. Sometimes you have to have, you know, really a nose in, hands on partially kind of um, approach. Sometimes you have to have, okay, we'll do this, bring it, let me see what you've done, like that. Depends on what kind of delegation you need to have with that individual and what, right? So it's extremely important in terms of delegation that you pick the right person, you pick the right task for that person, and handle that delegation. It's extremely important. Benefits are immense, obviously. Um, every organization must grow with the organizational structure that it has. Everybody needs to know where they fit. What that means is basically the CEO eventually needs to develop the organizational structure, and as he does, he's delegating jobs to various individuals, and that's how the organization continues to grow. Obviously, this is we're talking about a small organization that somebody has founded. That's the CEO, founder, and is developing this organization and structure, and now is delegating jobs to and shaping this organization with responsibilities he is. We're not talking about a large organization that has already a business plan and maybe a board of directors and funding from outside, and everybody is being hired by the board of directors based on the business plan and, in place and saying, okay, here's the money, go and make it happen. Completely different thing. So now, so the point of it is, how do you want to delegate things to various individuals, the right individuals? The point of it is, if you pick the right person that knows the job and you delegate the job to that person, the research has shown that there is a much better outcome, much better profitability and success for that job getting done than you picking just anybody and just have, which is not really much of a stretch, right? So the key is to pick the right person, and it is worth spending the time to pick the right people for each position that are expert in that position. Basically, what the purpose of the study was. So it is worth the time uh, to pick the right person. Well, 30% is a very big number. What does that mean? Let's say, for example, if you're advertising, marketing, 30% of your marketing budget being wasted because you have the wrong person managing it. That's huge. $100,000 a month or $1 million or even 10,000 for a small organization. That amount of money turns out to be huge, and 30% inefficiency. That's a huge inefficiency. And if it's not more, because if somebody doesn't know what they're doing, it's probably could be even 20% loss. So you cannot just pick anybody and just put them in position of authority and say good luck. That's just not a very good way of delegating. So picking the right people, putting them in place, again, nose in, hands in, then nose in, hands off a little bit, and then nose in, hands off a little bit more, eventually nose in, hands off, but still nose in, watching always. Now, it's pretty much like, when you're teaching your child how to ride a bike. First, you're holding that bike, letting the kid ride. Then eventually, little by little by little, take your hands off, and that himself. But get the kid to do it on all by may take a few weeks. Same thing with your staff when you're ready to take responsibility of a certain train them, takes time to make sure they're good. You can't just throw them in and expect them to perform, perform your expectation. So the reality. Okay. To me, one of the most important characteristics of a person that you delegate to is honesty. Okay, and in terms of delegation, is honesty and accountability and integrity are all going together because if somebody you give something to, they don't have integrity, accountability, honesty, they can go and do whatever mistake and then they're not going to take responsibility. Or if something goes wrong, they're not going to tell you, or they're going to blame somebody else, or they're just going to hide it, and sort of brush it under the carpet, or somehow try to run away from responsibility of the mistake that they've made. That's it will cause many, many problems and liabilities for the organization, number one. Number two, they will never learn from their own mistakes. They're going to repeat that same mistake over and over again, and you'll never know about it. It's huge, huge problem. And then it will come to a point where that individual will cause a disaster for you. So it is very, very important that the person you're delegating first and foremost has the accountability, the honesty, the integrity, so that you can actually be able to trust whether it is you're giving them the responsibility to or one. Yeah. And as they say, uh, attitude and aptitude, you know, attitude being the character, aptitude being the knowledge and skill. So if you are going to pick someone with all the uh, you know skill set and capabilities and the knowledge to delegate, and someone with but not enough of an honesty and integrity and you know character. Okay, there's a difference between character and attitude. Actually, character and character is built in somebody's being. So if that person's character is really versus someone who's a real decent, good human being, but they don't know the job so well. Maybe they're not the best at that, but they're leadership type of person. You can train them, they will become an amazing leader in your own. Between the two, you pick this guy. Somebody who has what it takes to be an amazing leader. Because if you train them, you teach them, you groom them, you have somebody that will be for your organization in time. So pick people that have there enough of background and mental capacity to learn. Don't be hunting for resumes. This person graduated from so and so school, or GP. But then when you talk to them, this and that. Whereas you talk to this person, he's a church going man, he's honest, decent, quality, really, really solid human being. But, they went to a very, average school. They did 3.75, they worked all through school. They supported their family, hardworking man, quality human being. Someone I would put my money on. Very solid. I know this man is going to continue to be very solid. He has proven in his history that he's a rock for himself, for his family, for his community. This is a guy that I can bank. That's the guy I want to put in my army. He's going to be a good soldier. He'll grow to be a good leader in this army. I want people who are going to be devoted and long term. I'm not looking for people who are here to learn and go. I'm looking for people who are they're here to stay. Okay, you're building your organization. You want people who are like rocks. You don't want to build your organization on a mountain and not on a sand. That's just unstable. You want to build a house on, you know, blown by wind, and your home is going to be like this. No, who wants to do that? They are intelligent. Nobody wants to do. You want to build your home on a solid rock, strong foundation. So solid people, right? So that's the main characteristic of someone you want to delegate. So you got to know what to delegate. As much as you need to know who to delegate to, you need to know what to delegate to that person. The two issues that we have here is what to delegate and who to delegate. The what to delegate question is everything except those things that no one else should and can do except you. That's the answer. Everything except those things that no one else should and can do except you. That's eventually everything. But that eventually, we don't know when that is going to come. Okay? And that may never come. You delegate everything except whatever um, that you should do all by yourself, and so on and so forth. You may never delegate everything. You may decide that you are not going to delegate certain things, even though you could delegate, because your level of risk taking is not that much. Everybody's, different in terms of their willingness to take risks. So you will decide how much you are willing to take risks, and that's how much you will risk. Simple. No more, no less. Everybody is going to be willing to take that much and no more risk. Delegate as much as you can, because the more you delegate, then the more free time you have to do those things only you can do, and then you can do a whole lot more. Right? We're all busy to do a whole lot of things that somebody else can do, then you can't do anything else to grow your organization. You want to be able to do a whole lot of things to grow your organization. You don't want to be busy doing things that other people can't do, and then you're going to be stuck and not be able to grow your organization, obviously. Right? And now, what are the four quadrants of delegation? Okay. Quadrants of organization, if you go and look at some of these baby business books, importance and all that, maybe this is for like, low-level managers talking about, and I call it, um, priority one, priority two. Some schools call it, high importance and, urgency. And those are all fun, but they're not CEO kind of conversation. These are like manager conversations. What is the difference between a CEO and a manager? And I have a video about that. Okay. Managers are people with an agenda, and they try to get their followers to do whatever it is that they need to do. That's exactly what that's about. Okay, so this is delegation to staff members. High important priority one, priority two, lower importance, all these stuff. I'm not going to talk about that. For a CEO, it's a different story. For a CEO, CEOs are independent, the highest level of a building. And that building, to me, has four floors and then the penthouse. Five floors. The fifth floor is the CEO, and then four floors are managed. Okay. The first floor of the manager is a young manager. Second floor is a little bit seasoned. Third floor is a mid-level manager. Okay. And then fourth floor is executive. And then the CEO. Okay. Have the low-level managers, then we have season managers and mid-level managers, and then we have the low-level managers in terms of risk and in terms of abilities. CEO, regardless of what they do, doesn't even matter what they do. To him, they basically manage about hundred of no more. So to him, they're in the hundreds of dollars of risk. So if their job is incurring more than $100 risk, 400, $500 risk, maybe tops 1,000, you don't delegate to that person. Okay, that person is not able to handle anything more than $100. So that is the second floor. Second floor is up to, maybe 1,000. Then if you stretch it under higher sort of senior on the second floor, maybe 2,000. And you decide, sort of based on your organization's tolerance in that sort of category. Then it goes to the third level. And then in the third level, you decide what kind of delegation you're going to have. And that delegation could be in 10. Depends again, based on the budget, situation, and so on. Third level of management could be in the tens of thousands, okay? 20, 30, 50, whatever. And then it goes to the executive level. Executives are in lieu of you. So as the CEO, it gets to a point at some point that you cannot be in three places at once. You got to be here in your own office and having meetings and meeting this and that. And then you have to be in another place and in another place and then another place as you get busier. And when you go to another place, you have to sign an agreement and a contract and meet with the attorneys and doing this. So at some point, you have to delegate executive decisions to some other people because you cannot be in three, four, five different places at once. And if you don't delegate those kind of decisions to more people than you are basically a bottleneck. You're going to keep that company, you know, hostage. You're going to prevent the growth of the company, depending on, and that may not be today, may not be tomorrow, but eventually that organization is going to outgrow you as the CEO. Just hold it hostage. You have to be able to let go. And so, as you let go, you have to be able to train and hire and agree as to who you give the authority and what the authority whom you give to play sort of interim CEO or sort of a CEO in that sort of capacity. But even that has limits. For example, if you are taking on a 30-year lease or you're buying a property or you're going to be taking or even a 10-year lease or a 5-year lease or whatever it is, that's a long-term commitment, or there's a high liability or something that's going to commit your organization to something that you can't get out of, or it's a big decision that, or you need to negotiate, you always, always leave the final signature and decision to yourself. You always say, okay, you go, you meet, you talk, you get it to the point of signature, and then you need to bring the contract back for me to review and discuss and finalize and sign. You never delegate the signature. You can leave the negotiation to someone else, but final delegation of signature and negotiation to yourself. You do not let someone else sign important agreement. You do not delegate else. And even checks, not delegate some financial decisions, not delegate those. And takes that's how even buying an order, big order, you have to, based on the floor, you have to give them authority. You can order up to this much, you can order up to this much, and you can order up to anything above that, you leave to yourself. Without your signature, no authorization. And make sure that that number is low, because if it's high, it could really affect you really badly. So it may not sound like, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. So make sure that those kind of things do your, because eventually the lessons. So when you want to delegate, don't ever think, oh, if I micromanage, this person is gonna feel this way, that person is gonna feel that way, the other person. Feelings have nothing to do with it. None. Make that culture in your organization. I am going to do what is good for this organization. Have nothing to do with this organization. Trust and verify, and that is the culture of this organization. I am here for this organization. That is my job. I will do what's right for this organization. I want everyone to do what's right for this organization. If there is anything you guys feel that is not 100% accurate, please ask your superior. If you go to someone who's your superior, feel that the answer you receive is less than 100% accurate, feel free to ask their superior. With their permission, if they do not give you permission to ask the superior, you still come and ask the superior. And if whatever the consequence, because I will support it. as long as you're doing it for the best interest of the organization. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Your organization will have a cement floors that will be separating each floor from the other, and the one that is going to be giving answers is going to block, one floor from the other, and it's going to be, uh, complete bullying and kinds of mismanagement and embezzlement and all kinds of issues going on. And then people are not going to be allowed to tell anyone and all kinds of nonsense that goes on in other organizations. We will not tolerate that in our. So if you see something that doesn't seem right, yep, you just have the authority to tell the superiors. And if the managers don't like it, sorry, it's just the way it is. So trust and verify, it's accurate. We are here to do what's good for the organization. Feelings have nothing to do with it. My position here as the CEO, I'm not here for anybody's feelings. Okay, I'm not here to make anybody feel. And that's what it is. Nice as I am, I'm not here to make myself feel good. I'm not here to make anybody else. As long as all of us are here to make the organization successful and achieve our outcome, great. You guys aren't here for that purpose, you don't here anymore. So that's simple. It's, yep, the delegation quadrants. The, he stated in short and long of it everything he was supposed to say. It was about 40 minutes, and I will be posting this on YouTube. Thank you very much for your time. Let's stop this recording.